Hello, everyone, and welcome to Astro Health. My name is Chrissy Smith, and today we are going to be going over the sign of Capricorn. Now, before we dive into this video, I know you guys are looking at me like, why she got that hat on? Well, the opposite sign of Capricorn is Leo, and I think that's the best way to kind of work with some of these structures is to go back to having a little fun. So let's get into it. And we just finished up a big transit of Pluto in Capricorn. That's why I decided to do this sign next, because our Capricorns have been going through it for the last 16 years, from 2008 until November 19th is when Pluto moved into Aquarius for the next 20 years. Well, I thought I had my PowerPoint. There we go. While I was doing my research, I realized why it was so hard for me to remember what the zodiac sign for Capricorn was, because there's three of them, right? And if we look at this chart right here, we can see that Capricorn rules our 10th house, and our 10th house is our career and the structures of life, the matrix, our government. Think about all the systems that we have, folks. We have the education system, the medical system, the religious system, the money system, the government system, right? And Saturn rules this part of our life, and it also rules Capricorn. And then you can see this symbol here. It kind of looks like this symbol over here. And I'm going to get into this in just a little bit something that I kind of figured out. What I love about astrology is that it's a spiritual knowledge, and so everybody's interpretation of it is just a little bit different. And so that is what I consider evolutionary astrology. It is a cardinal sign, so cardinal means that it starts the season. So Capricorn starts our fun time of winter, and it is a fixed earth sign. No, not a fixed earth sign, it is a cardinal sign. Please forgive me. Mercury is getting ready to go into retrograde, and it affects certain people more so than others, and it affects me more than other people because of its placement. So I want to interrupt this Capricorn Astro Health for a service announcement. We are going to be talking about the Saturn return. Dun, dun, dun. And I imagine these little UFOs dancing around and laughing at us when we experience our Saturn return. Basically, if we go back on this chart, we'll go into this one right here. It takes Saturn, if this is when Saturn was, when this person was born, it takes Saturn about 28 to 32 years to go back into that same spot, okay? And so Saturn is about our lessons in life. And so you kind of go into adulthood between the ages of 28 to 32. I mean, let's think about it. Most people stop partying and get married and start having children around this time, or have gone to school and lived with mom and dad for a little bit, and now they're kind of out on their own. And then the second time that Saturn goes around your chart, and most of the time this one is not going to be as intense as this period of time, because you've learned the lesson and we have evolved. And so when Saturn comes back to pay us a visit, it's like, have you been doing that work? Because if you haven't been doing the work, then life gets real tough. So what happens during this time? Well, depending on where Saturn is in your chart when you are born. So we're going to pick this chart back up again. If somebody had Saturn in this part of their chart, then they probably are going to have some challenges in how they give back to others, or in their friendships, okay, and service to humanity. And their purpose, right, if you don't get into alignment during this time, it's going to be knocking on the door even harder. And the purpose of Saturn going around, if we kind of look at Saturn as being like this big granddaddy planet, I mean, look at this little person here, and they see Saturn coming over here, and they're like, I'm not ready for change. I'm not ready for the challenge. But think about what happens when we go through the challenging time, right? Out of adversity comes creativity. And hopefully you have become more creative in what your destiny is supposed to be after experiencing some of these challenging times. But it's supposed to get us back into alignment, especially if we have ventured off. Like most people in their 20s, they are party, 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 right? And so maybe they've had some challenging experiences that's like, hey, do you really want to be known as this party person? Or is it time to kind of get on with what you were supposed to be doing? And if you don't learn the lesson, usually at the end of this transit, life can get real hard because the universe is trying to get you back more into alignment with what it is that you came here to do. And I will do another video on that later, but I just wanted to kind of add some fun to Big Granddaddy Saturn coming over the hill, ready to give you a lesson that you're not ready for, especially if you haven't really been in alignment and using your resources appropriately to figure out what it is that you are supposed to be doing. All right, so if we look back at those symbols for a Capricorn, as I discussed earlier in the Scorpio video, each of these signs are divided into what we call deacons. And so you have your first 10 deacon, then you have your second 10 deacon, and then your third 10 deacon. So with that being said, the first part, which I feel are the hardworking, practical, and reliable parts of Capricorn. And it kind of looks like the symbol a little bit for Virgo, or it looks like a V here, maybe a person pushing something, right, to make it grow. And then the second deacon of Capricorn are people that usually have a good sense of humor, and they want to have an independent schedule, kind of rebellious a little bit, because they don't want to follow the rules. They want to be the trendsetters. They want to have their own company, right? And they know how to work hard because they have some of those Virgo aspects, which is all about the details and the organization. So if you can take those types of skills and tied into being more of an independent leader, then certainly you could have your own business and know what your career is supposed to be. And then this one kind of looks like the number 7 and the 6 combined. So number 7 in astrology is about Libra. So if we take maybe some feminine qualities about organization, and then we take some masculine qualities about being, independent and a little bit rebellious, and we combine those, right? We take the best of the feminine energy of Virgo, and we take some of the masculine energy for Libra, and then we combine those so that we can be the best of Capricorn and be sociable like a Libra, and be friendly like a Libra, and be loyal and hardworking and I feel like an Aries. All right, here we go, which is the opposite of each other, Libra and Aries. All right, so let's look at this birth chart right here. I know a lot of us remember January of 2020, but I want to show you what was happening in the sky that gave power to that event, right? So this is where the sun was during that time, and it was at 0 degrees. So that's an anaretic degree. And that means that it gives the most energy too. So Aquarius controls service to humanity, and it controls the 11th house. And so that's 0 degrees. But you have these malefic planets over here, because Pluto, which we discussed last week, is a malefic planet, and it's governed by Scorpio and the dark side. But through those transformational experiences, Pluto gives power. So Pluto was giving power to our government structures because Capricorn controls our government. And we have Jupiter there, which is the planet of expansion, giving even more power to the government, giving even more power to transformation of these systems. And then we have the South Node here, which is kind of cleaning up those relationships, all right, because that's 7, which is a Libra degree. And so all of this, was giving energy to this sun. So this is why we went through this as the collective, because the 11th house is the collective. And a lot of people were communicating during that time, right? Because number 6 is Virgo, and maybe increasing their health habits, improving their health habits so that they could be different people during that time. And if you clean up your health, you can be an amazing warrior. You can be an amazing inventor because you're not full of all these distractions and all this debris, and you're set free. And if we look at the north, if you look at this ascendant right here, this person, all right, if this person was born, is at 29 degrees, Black Moon Lilith, which is the dark side of life. and it is in the sign of Pisces. Now, Pisces is our most intuitive sign, but it also controls movies and illusions. So if you have Black Moon Lilith, all right, which is the dark side of life, and illusions, right? The illusions of life. A lot of people during 2020 were breaking out of the matrix. We're breaking out of the systems of life. And then you have Uranus here, which is governed by Aquarius. And it is at 2 degrees, which is a Taurus degree, which is fixed energy, right? And so there were some tension points here, and people were being asked to think about, what is it that you value, right? People's value systems changed because they realized that they couldn't rely on the things that they used to rely on for comfort anymore. And then the North Node is what our destiny was trying to do, was in Cancer. And Cancer is our home. And that's at 7 degrees, our relationship with family, our relationship at home, our relationship with the mom energy, and our emotions. That was a challenging time for a lot of people. So this is why astrology is real. All right, so let's look at some important information about this particular zodiac sign. This is the constellation in the sky. So you won't be able to get to see this constellation during the winter months because it's going to be near the sun, because that's where the sun is in, but you can see it in the summer months because it's flipped. It's ruled by Saturn, big granddaddy Saturn, and the dates are December 22nd to January 20th. So Saturn in traditional astrology rules Aquarius. Saturn ruled Aquarius in traditional astrology. So if we go back to this here, all right, we can kind of see that Saturn was given a little bit of energy to its traditional zodiac sign, which is Aquarius. So it was a challenging time, and a lot of people probably became detached from the matrix, or maybe became illusioned by the matrix even more because they didn't want to do those Saturnian lessons. All right, what does Saturn do? Smacks us, and it tells us that it's time to transform, and if we don't like it, it's a little tough. Magic numbers are 10 and 22. And as I mentioned, if it is the 10th house ruler, it's magic number 10. And if we go around again, that would be 22. Its least favorite placement is if you have your moon in Capricorn. Now, this isn't bad, all right? This just means that the opposite sign of Capricorn is Cancer, and Cancer's ruler is the moon. So the opposite of being good business is being too emotional in business, right? Because then people would walk all over you. I put on here these things simply because the sun is in detriment is in fall position in Capricorn, because it is our summertime. And so Leo loves the summertime, right? That's when it's at its height. And so the sun is its weakest point in our winter time. And then Jupiter, I feel like, is at mind expansion and wants to do new things, and very innovative and creative and spiritual, kind of like what Neptune is. But Capricorn doesn't really want to be so spiritual. It wants to be more structured and less intuitive. And these are the systems, and this is the rules, and this is the way we're going to do things. And Neptune and Jupiter are a little bit, but what about this? Okay. And it's not that it's a bad thing, because I feel like people that have Jupiter in the 10th house, usually those people are good business minded people, and they can get in touch with their intuitive abilities in order to have a creative business. And his favorite planet is Mars, because Mars is the planet of action. And this is real easy to have a placement in Mars for a lot of people, because it spends about 2 months in each zodiac sign. So it's not as generational. It's more of an independent type placement. Animals, we think about the mountain goat. Think about those goats that they climb on top of these little places on the mountain, and they look like they're about to fall off, right? But they don't. And the reason that they climb up so high is because they want to protect themselves from, the enemy, from anything that's going to try to eat it or hurt it. And so it puts itself in these dangerous predicaments in order to keep safe. But once it gets to the top of the mountain, that's where all the green grass is. That's where the luxuries of life are. And it's not going to probably be, if it's healthy, by eating all the good food that it just found, it's going to be less, excuse my words because Mercury is in retrograde and it's definitely affecting me. Its ability to not be safe. There we go. Some essential oils that I feel are kind of earthy smelling are sandalwood and cedar wood. It has the wood name in there, so obviously it is. And vetiver and also lavender. Lavender, I feel, is a very calming essential oil, and so is vetiver, because when you get into those high places like those Capricorn goats can go, it gets a little uncomfortable. And so you want to kind of keep calm through those so you can make the best decisions and not make a rash decision. If we look at the color of the mountain, right, it's brown, it's gray. Wintertime is brown, it's gray, everything is dyed. And so that is the colors that I feel gives the most power to our Capricorns. And the best flower for Capricorn that is a flower which grows in the winter, very resilient, are the pansies, because everything else is dead, but it shows that there's still life, right, beneath the surface. We just got to be patient and wait for all that hard work that we've been doing in these winter months to show the fruits of our labor in the springtime and in the summer. Some crystals that you could use would be this one right here. This one is garnet. It's like a red stone. And this one is tiger's eye. And if we think about what the opposite sign of Capricorn is the tiger, the lion. And I like to use more less polished stones, things that are a little bit more raw. I feel like they haven't been touched and they're more in their element to provide the most energy. And one of the elements that I didn't get to show, or one of the stones that I didn't get to show last week because my PowerPoint eliminated the picture right here, this is tourmaline. So tourmaline, and then this one on the bottom is a smoky quartz. So this right there would be an extremely powerful stone because both of those energies could be working together to provide the most emotional stability, the most elimination of negativity, and be able to control those responses to anger. And then up here at the top, a rose quartz, I like this one a lot because I feel like it provides a little bit more of that nurturing, emotional, motherly support. And sometimes if Capricorns are working too hard, they need to be taking a break, right? And sometimes it's hard for us to take a break and spend time with our family because we're too busy working. Foods that Capricorns need to focus on are things that are high in protein because that helps build muscle. However, too much protein could excrete calcium from the bones. And this person or Capricorns need to be eating a lot of foods that are rich in calcium. So fortified milk and things like that. I really am not a fan of fortified foods because I feel like you can get things naturally. And if you're fortifying something, that means that it doesn't have the high nutritional value that it should, like a fortified cereal. Why are we eating fortified cereal when we could be eating real foods for breakfast that would actually be helping in our bone structure and not decreasing our bones from demineralization? Spices that are good would be garlic, basil, chervil, rosemary, and tarragon. Vegetables. Now, it said when I was doing some research that spinach, if ate in too high of an amount, could excrete calcium from the bones, but a lot of people aren't going to be eating that much spinach, I don't think. So try to think about different leafy green vegetables that would be good for you that probably have a little bit more fiber and a little bit more structure to them, roughage, like kale. Edamame would be good, and lentils, any type of beans. Fruits, figs, definitely. Those have a ton of calcium, but so do oranges and papayas because not everybody likes figs. And we're talking about real figs, folks. We're not talking about fig Newtons because fig Newtons is processed food. We're going to get the processed food out because that would demineralize our bones. Good proteins. You want to think about proteins that you could eat that have a lot of calcium in it. Fish with bones in it, sardines, canned salmon. I love canned salmon. It's one of the best things you can eat because you see those little chopped up bones. If it was me, just mash them up. And that way, if you are eating the calcium from the bone, that is going to be giving you the best source of calcium, in my opinion, because it's real. It's real bones. Fats, walnuts, fish oils, cheese, seeds, almonds, and I forgot to put milk on there, but Milk is a good source of calcium as well, and so is yogurt. Foods to avoid are things that are going to demineralize our bones: high salt, alcohol, caffeine, hydrogenated oils. Those are the oils that they put in our fake foods, our artificial foods, stuff like margarine, and also soft drinks. If you eat things that are high in salt, two of the most used minerals for muscle contraction is sodium, which is salt, and calcium. So if you're eating a high salt diet, in order to keep up with that level of salt, if you aren't eating enough calcium, it's going to excrete the calcium from the bones so that it can make it a little bit more even for your muscle contraction. All right, iotrope mathematics. We talked about a minute ago why you should have some of these foods, and it is because think about the structures in our body. That is the structure of our life, not just the structures of life, but the structures of our life, and that is our bones. It is our hardest structure. So it's the bones, it's the joints, it's the teeth, it's the knees. These people are usually vulnerable to cavities, getting fractures, arthritis, and other skin issues, because that is your biggest organ, along with the structures of your body. So for me, an astrological remedy, when I look at this, I'm like, well, this person needs to dry brush. And you're like, well, what is dry brushing? Look it up, folks. But to me, I feel like if you use one of those pads with the little brushes on it and you go like this, yes, that's good. But some people, that might be too sensitive for their skin. So get some of those big pads that almost look like something that you could wax a car with. And this is your vehicle. This is your car. Wax it. All right. Massage it. Treat it in those circular type fashion. But you can get these pads at, I've even found them at the grocery store. You can go to a makeup store where it has like a soft pad and it has a little, I don't know, elastic band that goes around your hand. And then this part, right, is a little bit more of a texture, right? And it kind of looks like a buffer almost. So you're buffing your car and you're buffing off all those dead skin cells so that the new skin can re-emerge. Taking breaks from work. Capricorns are notorious for work, and they don't play. They don't use the opposite expression of Leo and have fun. If you don't have fun, what's going to happen to that car? It's going to break down if you don't change the oil, if you don't stop and give the car some brakes, if you don't change out the washers, the wiper blades on the car, you're not going to have a safe vehicle anymore. So we got to make sure that we're taking those breaks. Chiropractor appointments. What does a chiropractor do? It adjusts the bones for optimal health. So make sure that you are going to see that chiropractor on a weekly basis, every 2 weeks, once a month, in order to get yourself back into alignment. You will be amazed at how much better that your body will feel once it starts working at its optimal level. And then the last one that I tell people about is to focus on their teeth. And you get one set, folks, after your little baby teeth fall out. So make sure that you're taking care of your teeth. Get you one of those Sonicare toothbrushes, the one that spins around, the electric ones. Ever since I started using that, I don't have the issues with my teeth that I used to have. And every time I go to the dentist, they said, you're one of the patients that I feel can only come and see me once a year, because your teeth are so good. And I'm like, well, I'm going to come once every 6 months because my insurance pays for it. And folks, if you can find fluoride-free toothpaste, please do it. Download the Yucca app. When I was talking about some of these chemicals that are in our foods that could probably take away from the mineralization of our bones, then, it's hidden in all these types of chemicals. Modified natural foods. Download the Yucca app. You can scan products at the store. It tells you what kind of chemicals or what type of additives are in it. Your body recognizes salt. Your body recognizes fat. Your body recognizes protein. Your body recognizes sugar. Your body recognizes carbohydrates. What it does not recognize are these additives. What are these additives doing on our body? What are they doing if we eat them? And I know it's like, oh, well, there's just a small amount. Well, if you have a small amount and then you eat something else with a small amount and something else with a small amount and a small amount, that small amount after a while is going to fill up that toxicity cup in our body. And then what's going to happen? The toxic sludge is going to fall out of the cup and it's going to go into our body, and we're going to be in pain. We're going to have digestive issues, mental disorders. Okay. So just get the chemicals out, folks. Get the chemicals out and try to eat real food. And also, you know, there's false truth on some of these products. It may say natural flavors. Well, that natural flavor could be a natural bug that's outside that's red, and that is what's giving it that red food coloring, is a bunch of mashed up bugs. It's facts, folks, and this stuff equals disease. So just because you can buy it at the store does not mean it's healthy for you. Good activities for Capricorns to do. Lifting weights, because if the muscle is strong, then it's going to be putting tension on that bone and causing it to get harder. Impact activities such as running or walking, that is an impact on that bone. And if that bone has impact on it or stress, it is going to make that bone stronger. And also rock climbing. Think about that goat, folks. Be the goat. Do the rock climbing. That's an independent activity that you can do. That's also a sport. Bodybuilding would be a good sport for these people. Independent activities, yoga, because once we build up that muscle, if we don't stretch the muscle, all right, the muscle is going to get all hunched over like this, all right? And we don't want that. We want nice, long, lean muscles that are free of pain, those that are a little bit more elastic in nature, because if something is elastic, then that means it has the ability to grow and stretch and perform at its optimal level. Mental activities for Capricorns could be chess, strategy type games like word puzzles and things like that. Reading historical documents, because Saturn and Capricorn control history and the elders. And doing gardening, because gardening is an earth activity. And Saturn is all about slow growth, doing the slow work. And gardening, just like, you know, doing stuff with the lawn, that takes a long time to see the efforts of your work that you've been doing behind the scenes. And gardening would be good for Virgos as well. All right, if you would like a personal Astro Health appointment with me, make sure that you reach out to me at 9livesenergy@gmail.com. Turn off the TV, folks, and tune into you. A lot of us, you know, we have gotten into some bad health practices, especially after what happened in 2020. And it's time that we move the ship in a different direction, because nobody wants to be in pain. Everybody wants to feel good. Everybody wants to be in more alignment with what it is that they came here to do. And if you got off track like I did at age 28 to 32, I don't want anybody else to have that type of experience. It was not fun to realize at 42 years old, yeah, I have been living the life that other people wanted me to do. And so I wanted to step into something new that was more in alignment with my birth chart, and something that was going to give me a little bit more notoriety or my legacy or my career in the next 20 years, because Pluto, which is the planet of transformation, is now in Aquarius. And so it's given power to that sign, and something that Aquarius governs is astrology. So use this information, folks. It helped me, and I know it can definitely help you. This is the schedule. Last week we did Scorpio, which was on November 17th. Capricorn is today. The next one coming up is Sagittarius, because we are in Sagittarius season, and let's have some fun and some light as we get ready to move our energy into Capricorn season, which starts around Christmas time. Then we got Aries coming up on December 8th, Libra, December 15th, Aquarius, December 22nd, Virgo, December 29th, Pisces, January 5th, Leo, January 12th, Cancer, January 19th, Gemini, January 26th, Taurus, February 22nd. So if you are interested in get an appointment with me, let me know. I would be more than happy to help you out and teach you how to find all these magical things within your birth chart, because we're all unique individuals. We all came here for a different reason, right? Whether it was to be in our creativity, or whether it was to learn how to have better organization, or whether it was to learn how to have positive relationships, or maybe you came here in order to level up in your spirituality, or learn how to give back to humanity. And all of this shows up in your birth chart. So if you're interested in learning more about you, message me at 9livesenergy@gmail.com, and I'll be more than happy to help you out. Thanks, and have a magical day.